What is Learn Outside? Learn Outside is a fascinating approach in the education field that allows students to expand their knowledge beyond the walls of the classroom. It is a metaphor for the idea that learning should be done not just within the walls of the classroom, but also outside of it. It encourages both literal and metaphorical educational attributes, such as outdoor activities, field trips, and hands-on experiences and project-based learning. This experiential approach encourages students to explore their environment and to use it to help them understand their world better. This approach helps student agency and the gaining of a deeper understanding that they can apply in a relevant real-world situation.
Thank you for joining us with Learn Outside. We are learning today about the impact of partnerships and pathways on Learn Outside at the secondary level. Learn Outside is an informal discussion about innovative and effective teaching practices that disrupt the status quo in education. Today we have a superhero guest with us, Mr. Nick Garska. He's the principal at the Career Academy South Bend. And our host is myself, Dr. Candy Van Buskirk, and I am the Assistant Superintendent at the Career Academy of Network of Public Schools, and my co-host.
I'm Dr. Nash. I'm the K-5 Makerspace Manager at Success.
All right, well, before we get started with our discussion, let's first find out about our Learn Outside moment of the week. So Dr. Nash, if you'll share with us.
Sure. I'm very excited. Last week we had our showcase open house at Success Academy, K-5 building, and all of the grade levels had displays of their work in engineering and science. There was one grade level, I have to say, did an amazing job. They had a huge, probably about an 8 to 10 week unit on looking at the RV industry here in our area, because we want to make those connections to our local region.
Right.
And the students, they had a field trip visit to the History Museum for RVs, so they could see the background information, build that knowledge. They made RV campers out of Legos. They made cardboard RVs with detailed rooms and furniture, and it was amazing. They used SketchUp and did blueprints for the unit. They interviewed people who were in the industry. It was such a full circle life experience with fantastic life applications. So they were definitely making connections with our area, one another. The families came and helped as well. It was amazing. Definitely learning outside.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that, because we talk about partnerships. We're going to be talking about partnerships today, right?
Yes.
And that partnership with the RV industry. And the RV industry is such a big industry in our area.
Yes.
And to see that we have second graders that are partnering.
Absolutely.
And then in our past episodes, we've talked about Kolb's 4 stages of experiential learning, and they walk through, each one of those stages. So do you think that's a great Learn Outside moment?
Right. And if I was able to show some of their reflective journals, because I always have the classes on their projects do reflective journaling, and their thought process and the things they learn were phenomenal, priceless.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing. Now we'll move over to our superhero guest, Mr. Nick Garska.
Hi.
What's your Learn Outside moment?
Thank you guys for having me today. I'm super
Absolutely.
excited. My Learn Outside moment today would be that we have a new teacher in our precision machining program, Mr. Chris Kusnarek, and this year we have over 70 individual students going for their NIMS certifications, which are an actual industry certification for metalworking. So NIMS is the National Institute of Metalworking Skills. We have 11 students that have passed so far in the first 2 days of testing, and we're hoping to increase that number as we go on. So an industry cert for some of these freshmen and sophomores before they move into their junior and senior year in high school.
That is
amazing.
absolutely
Yeah.
incredible.
Wow.
I mean, I
That
think
early
about,
on.
in the skills, partnerships, once again, how important that is once our students graduate, and where is this certification going to take them, and, that's, appreciate you sharing that.
It's super exciting.
Yeah, that's so
that's
great.
We had a whopping 0 last year, so now we've increased to 11, and we're looking for more to be. He's hoping around 20 to 25 certifications by the end of the school year this year, and then we can certify throughout the year next year. Even starting first semester. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to be able to get more certifications out than we ever have before.
Wow, what a great program.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing that. My Learn Outside moment would be one of our middle school teachers, she's our intro to ag teacher, and she and her class have built these raised gardens out in the front. And these raised gardens, they have plants, and when she was building these raised gardens with her classes, they thought there was a water source out there. Well, there's no water source. And we're getting ready to, school's about out for the year, getting ready to go out on summer break. And her and her class were trying to problem solve. There's no water source. And so they're thinking about these different ideas of what they could do. And so together, problem solving, thinking critically, I looked this morning, they've placed clay pots full of water, and they're just in the soil because the water will move through the clay pots into the soil at a slow rate, hoping that will get them enough watering, and I think she realizes that they're gonna have to, have some watering throughout, but just the problem thinking, working, collaborating to come up with that solution for what's going on, and knowing that the roots need a little water. We're going to get plenty of sun this summer.
Absolutely.
Photosynthesis is going to take place, but we don't want them to shrivel and die. So I just thought that was very clever and creative.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, we have come to that moment. We are going to a commercial break, a superhero break. We'll be right back.
This message has been brought to you by Career Academy Precision Machining, where we are a cut above the rest.
We're a cut above the rest.
Career Academy Precision Machining is a proud sponsor of Learn Outside, the podcast.
Welcome back to Learn Outside. We are once again here with our guest, Mr. Nick Garska, our principal at Career Academy South Bend. And we're going to walk through a little discussion with Nick in regards to how him and his team is disrupting the status quo in education through partnerships and innovation and pathways here at the secondary. So Nick, first, if you can tell us a little bit about how you got to this point in your career and leading this experiential pathways-based approach.
Absolutely. So I got here, I started in the math department for high school. And then kind of transitioned my way into administrator. I was a assistant principal here for 1 year, and then moved into the middle school principal role. And now just worked my way up to the high school principal. But kind of at the middle school level, I noticed that at the high school we were going to this pathway approach. The state of Indiana had changed their graduation requirements, and we were able to provide pathways as an option for graduation. And career itself was kind of ahead of the curve in that. So we had to have it done for this year's seniors, the class of 2023, but you were able to opt into those, I think, as far back as the class of 2018.
Okay.
So at the middle school, we really started to see that we wanted to have these students ready for the pathways they could take in the high school. So we had gotten some land. We had the land donated, 35 acres to the south of the building. Nice. And we decided, you know what, we could go with kind of this environmental tech approach, which is, I got to attribute Vera Jones for coming over and saying, we could make this class where students are going outside, they're cutting down trees with axes, and they're using different machinery out in to make paths in the environmental center. And so COVID had hit. We decided we were going down this path. September 28th, we came back with no paths back there, and decided we were going to start blazing trails in the environmental center. Real trails, exactly, real trails. And so students have, at the middle school level, that access to different machines, different tools, so that way they could then go into a PLTW class and might learn medical detectives, or they might learn different paths that they can get in the high school. And now at the middle school, we've got all these levels built, so that at the high school level, they kind of have an idea of the 7 pathways that we have to offer.
That's amazing connections. And I know for me at the K-5 level, we're also talking about pathways and making those connections. So from K-5 to middle school and on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that, which leads me into my next question. So if I am new hearing this information, and I'm excited about experiential learning, I work at the secondary level or lead the secondary level, and I'm hearing the term pathways. Can you explain what pathways means a little bit more in detail?
Absolutely. So a pathway is kind of that career tech ed path that a student can take. They will start here at Career, their freshman year. in 2 pathways. So we have the students choose 2, kind of to their interest level. When they get through their first year, which is their principal's year, the first year is known as that, they then move into their second year, which would be concentrator A, and then their third year, which would be concentrator B.
Can I just want to interrupt real
Absolutely.
quick. So give me a specific pathway, like if I came in, I would be in this principal class. What's a specific pathway?
So we have 7 here at Career Academy. Our
Yeah.
7 pathways are welding, precision machining, computer science, engineering, health science, entrepreneurship, and agriculture.
Oh, perfect. So if I came in, I would be in principles of entrepreneur.
Yes, principles
Okay.
of entrepreneurship
Okay.
would be
Okay.
your first year, freshman year status. You're coming into principles of entrepreneurship.
Okay, walk me through, let's pick that identified pathway just because that's how my brain works.
Okay, yep,
Give
absolutely.
me a specific
Absolutely.
route through.
You want entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Okay, entrepreneurship, you're going to take principles of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
You are then going to,
Oh, you're going to go in.
I'm trying to think the sequence. I can't remember what concentrator A is off the
Okay,
top of my
but
head.
it would be a
courses
concentrator.
related to that particular.
It's
piece.
all courses related to entrepreneurship. So we have an entrepreneurship teacher, Gabby Person,
Oh,
who
perfect,
is
yep.
running the entire entrepreneurship program through Career. So you're going to have her as a principal's teacher. You're going to have her for concentrator A, which off the top of my head I
Oh,
cannot
no worries,
remember.
no
Yeah,
worries.
don't worry
Yeah.
about
And
that
then
part.
her for concentrator B.
Okay, okay.
And as long as you can get through those 3 pathways with a C average or above, you no longer have to pass a test to graduate in Indiana. So you can go down this path of the pathways, get my C average in all 6 courses, 6 credits, semester A, semester B, and you can graduate with a pathway as opposed to passing the SAT or the cut score on the ACT.
That gives so many students an option. I know, that's something students and parents and families struggle with. So to have
Absolutely.
this other option is amazing.
Yes.
Well, Marilyn, I have a question because Marilyn is our expert at K-5. What does that look like K-5 to prepare students so as they're rolling into middle and then eventually high school to make it to NIC? What does that look like in sharing the different pathways with them at K-5?
Right now for the K-5, it's been new this year, but everyone is really understanding this process so that we want to stay connected K-12. And so at the K-5 level, any of the units, any of the field trips, any of the guest speakers, everything must filter through one of the 5 pathways that we're working with.
And what are those 5 pathways?
Well, there's welding, computer science, entrepreneurship, engineering, and precision machining.
Okay,
Precision
perfect.
machining.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
I have a
I
little
was just-
acronym
I'm
in my head. I had to
curious.
work through that. With let me see all the letters, make sure I got them. And what happens in every, for example, the RV unit that I was talking about earlier for 2nd grade.
Right.
That was definitely with engineering, and we even had some welding. Now, our K-5 students aren't using the big welding machines that we see around us this morning, but they're using glue guns and all kinds of tools that put pieces together, which is welding. And so we filter through those pathways so that they understand that language, they understand the purpose, and it's been amazing for our students and our teachers. So they should understand that when they get to you next year.
Absolutely. And I think it's exciting just standing here in the welding shop thinking about the welding unit where you're putting pieces together, and then Mr. Kaznarek always refers to precision machining as the opposite of that. I have this block of something and I'm trying to remove pieces so that it'll fit in a certain area.
Yeah.
Yeah, which leads me now that you say that, and we have these 2 lovely items in front of us. I know we were going to wait towards the end of the segment, but that was a
Right.
great segue
Absolutely.
in, Nick. So, Marilyn, if you want to show, so these are garden stakes, let's call them stakes, and we've got a dragonfly and a butterfly, and our middle school students created these, put them in CAD, cut them out through precision machining, welded them together here, and oops, I don't know if you guys can see them, but they're pretty incredible. And for us, it's a fundraiser. If you want to buy one, they're $20 a piece, but it's really incredible that middle school students are doing this work, which leads me to, if we allow our students to do what they're capable of doing rather than making them wait until later on, allowing them to dive into their passions, we create incredible, incredible work. But I want to stay on, that was a tangent.
Yep.
We'll move off of our tangent. We don't do tangents. But Nick, if you would share with me and Marilyn, what resources are needed or required to offer these pathways?
The most important part for resources are going to be the machines themselves. So when we talk about our engineering lab, we need these 3D printers. We need the students to be able to have access to those so they can get the industry certifications. The NIMS certification I talked about earlier, they have to be on precision machining machines in order to be able to do that. Our welding booths that are kind of all around us here, being able to weld is going to be instrumental for them to get a welding certification by the time they graduate. And I think the E3 grant gave us a lot of opportunities to get more machines for more students to obtain those certifications.
Let me speak to that real quick.
Absolutely.
So our 3E grant that we obtained through the state of Indiana was in collaboration with Boys and Girls Club, and a team wrote this grant, and the grant was to dive into career exploration. It's explore, engage, and experience. And what I want to share about that, I had the chance to talk with Jason Callahan in regards to this. And at the state level, if you are doing the work and your folks, boots on the ground, are doing the work, they want to support that work. And we have found that to be true. So if anybody is listening to this podcast that is in a different district, a different state, we were also recently at a conference where there were state level legislators there that said, come to us and tell us what your innovative ideas are. They really want to support that. I know Nick has talked about our welding booths. I don't know that you probably can't see them, but we have 20 welding booths, individual welding booths for our students to work in that's here. And this is through lots of grant funding, a lot of startup costs, don't get me wrong, but there are ways to make this happen. Yeah. I just want other schools to know that they too can have the resources to run experiential learning and do it at the level that that they want, that students deserve.
Absolutely.
This is so beyond what my experience of you read about it, you think about it, and that's where it stops. This is where students can really do that hands-on process of understanding and growing, their thought process.
And those pathways are all designed for hands-on. We are getting out into the community. Yep. We're talking or bringing in community partners into our building to be able to talk to students, getting them into nursing homes if they're in the nursing pathway or medical pathway, and getting a certified nursing assistance license, so that way they can go right into working.
There was a time in my life when I was working at a university and I taught educational courses. And when I worked with freshman classes, it broke my heart that so many of them sat there with absolutely no idea what they were interested in, what they were pursuing, and here they are already at that level of working on a degree, and they didn't know what for.
Right.
And so I get excited to see our students, the K-12 pathways and things that we have, walking out of here already into careers and employment and knowing where they want to go.
Absolutely.
It's exciting.
Yeah, no, it really is. Which leads me, you've talked a little bit about partnerships, which authentic audience, relevant real world learning. If there's one thing that we hear our students tell us day in and day out, that's what they want. They want relevant real world learning. We don't know what jobs are going to hold in the future. Everything is changing so quickly with AI, with technology, with precision machining. I mean, the list goes on, right? So tell me about the partnerships that at Career Academy at the high school that are housed, that really leads those career pathways and that experiential learning.
So first, every one of our pathways will end in an industry certification of some kind. So all 7 of them, once you go through.
Wait, say that one more time for the people in the back.
That was big.
Yeah.
There should be like
Absolutely. Every single one of our pathways will end in a state-approved industry certification of some kind, no matter what pathway you are in. Wow. Precision machining, I highlighted earlier, is the NIMS certifications that students can get. There are, I want to say, 5 welding pathway certifications that they can get. And then you've got the CNA certification, which could lead into the CCMA certification. But a lot of our partnerships are with businesses and organizations outside of the school building. So you're starting your freshman year in that pathway. We took every single student in the high school up to Chicago to go to a conference in October, September. It was right at the beginning of the year. Just trying to get everyone to find that path that's right for them. And it might be medical, it might be industry, it might be welding. Find that path that's right for you.
So with entrepreneurial, we were talking earlier that our partnership is with RISE. Can you tell me what RISE is and how that works?
Absolutely. So RISE is the Regional Innovation Startup Education Network. Our entrepreneurship students are kind of certified through RISE. Miss Person is certified with the RISE program. And RISE itself runs a program called Startup Moxie in St. Joe County.
Tell us what Startup Moxie is.
Absolutely.
Some of our audience might
Absolutely.
not know Startup
No,
Moxie.
Startup Moxie is super exciting. So the goal of Startup Moxie is by the end of the program, you have your own business, your own model, and they have this RISE Fest in the spring where all students come to highlight their business, their organization,
that's
anything
exciting.
else.
Wow.
And Startup Moxie kind of gets them there. But if you're through your pathway, you want to be out of the school to work with this program, you apply for it your junior year or your senior year, and you will go every single day in the morning. Your first hour and your fifth hour, you're not here, you're off-site, but you can be in any pathway to be able to go into it. So if I'm a welding student and I want to weld certain pieces, or I want to learn about the entrepreneurial experience, you can, if you want to build a program and build your own business in welding, you can do that.
Wonderful. Love that.
It's not necessarily just for entrepreneurship students.
Right.
So we have high school students that have their own LLC.
That is correct.
That's
we do.
it.
Wow.
That's so impressive. So
Yeah,
impressive.
Very exciting.
Yep, and RISE also goes down to the middle school level as well. And the RISE organization works partnership with Boys and Girls Club, and middle school students during Boys and Girls Club can build their own sort of business. So we had a middle schooler, a sixth grader this year, Josiah Franklin, that was actually voted the best middle school booth at RISE Fest at the end of the year.
Fantastic.
Middle school student.
Middle school student.
Wonderful.
And he was building 3D phone cases on our 3D printers in the makerspace.
Perfect. Wow, that's exciting.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, our final thought before we go to our superhero commercial.
All right.
If you would share with us, how best can we support our educators to lead beyond the walls of the classroom through experiential learning?
Absolutely. The pathways kind of write themselves, right? If I'm a welding person, so Mr. Bernhardt, our welding teacher, was in the industry for 30 or 35 years before he decided, you know what, I've got a higher calling, I want to help students. That's easy for that to happen. But how do I, in the math classroom, or how do I in a social studies classroom or English classroom, be able to bring that experience in of how can I benefit the welding teacher? How can I benefit the nursing teacher? We have a lot of collaboration time and space for our teachers to be able to kind of have those conversations. And the goal is for teachers to kind of implement some of these projects that might tie into what the students are doing. So our Algebra 2 teacher this year, Miss Barwick, actually created catapults in the makerspace to be able to describe kind of a parabola. So they were going through and doing quadratics, and in order to describe, well, we have quadratics everywhere. So if I have a projectile that is going from A to B, how could I model that? And they actually went to the makerspace and built catapults to be able to show what was happening, but then it became a competition of how far can your catapult go? Can you dial it into a certain area? So the students, they were judged not on how far it could go, but if I were to pull this back and let it go, it needs to land in a bowl that was only about 6 inches in diameter. Can you get it to be accurate enough to land in that space?
Exciting. We have so many passionate teachers here, and I know from our experience and throughout our district. Could you talk a little bit about the PLC or the professional learning teams and how they support one another for these great projects?
Absolutely. So our PLCs, we've got 3 of them at the high school right now. We've got a CTE team, so our career tech ed team. We've got a 9-10 team, and then an 11-12 team. Those professional learning communities are working with their team lead to bring in, whether it be Mr. Kusnerick, and hey, they have that conversation of, hey, how can I benefit you with whether it's writing in professional language for these NIM certifications.
Right.
So they're working with the team to be able to bring in different, and even outside members from the community of, if there's a problem that needs solved, how can I help my English class to write about this and solve this solution?
Nice. Very nice.
Well, I appreciate you sharing and being with us today. We're going to have to head to commercial, but before I do, I just want to share this thought that I recently read. It said, be fearless in your pursuit of what sets your heart on fire. And isn't that a pretty powerful
like that.
quote?
Wow.
Be fearless in your pursuit of what sets your heart on fire. And I really feel like it sounds like you're supporting your educators in order for them to be able to be fearless in their pursuit of what sets their heart on fire,
That's right.
which then sets our kids' hearts on fire, right?
Right.
You have to be passionate about teaching, learning, getting outside of that comfort level of I know and I only know math. I need to experience. The students need to experience that if they're going to do anything. A lot of students are fearful of math.
Yeah.
How can we make it real and relevant?
Absolutely.
No, very good. Well, thanks for sharing. Well, with that, we are going to a superhero commercial. We will be right back.
Career Academy Welding, where we're building for tomorrow.
Where everything is hot. Where we make our future.
Career Academy Welding, a proud sponsor of Learn Outside the podcast.
Welcome back to Learn Outside. We hope that you have enjoyed our time. We just want to thank Mr. Nick Garska for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's been a pleasure and fun.
It's been fantastic.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So fun. Yes. So please join us next week with our superhero guest is going to be Mr. Dwayne Wilson. He is the COO of Boys and Girls Club of St. Joe County. And we are going to learn more about the positive impact of partnerships. We have a close tight-knit partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, and we get to talk with Dwayne Wilson next week about
That'd
that.
be great. Yeah.
Dwayne's a good guy.
He's wonderful, right?
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hope you have a joyous Learn Outside week. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.